Okay, it's February. And what holiday falls in February? Valentine's Day. So I thought I'd honor this Hallmark holiday by talking about sex. Right this way. Okay, so I am going to preface this video with this. We're going to have a very frank and candid conversation about sexual dysfunction that arises due to neuropathy. The other thing I'm going to say is, this is YouTube, and I have heard a million do's and don'ts and phrases not to say, things not to reference, everything, all those warnings. So I'm just going to kind of truck along and we're going to see where we wind up. So this is an important subject, and if you watched my last two videos, then you know that there are a staggering amount of people with peripheral neuropathy. And this happens to be a really common complaint, sexual dysfunction. So yeah, we're getting into it today. Now, this may not be the most widely representative of the PN issue, but it's absolutely a life-altering concern. So let's start out with some facts. Fact 1, sexual dysfunction is an issue that affects both men and women and can be caused by a variety of physical and psychological factors. Neuropathy or nerve damage is one of the many medical conditions that can lead to this. This is an equal opportunity issue here. It does not discriminate. For both men and women, sexual difficulties can range from diminished interest to slow response, discomfort, pain, and for men specifically, outright impotence. Erectile dysfunction, or ED, is a common form of sexual dysfunction in men with neuropathy, particularly diabetic neuropathy, and ED can result from nerve damage and decreased blood flow to the genital area. For women, it can present as decreased libido or sex drive, difficulty reaching le petit mot, also known as orgasm, and vaginal dryness. I always thought the French had captured the perfect description of orgasm with that phrase. And if you know the translation of it, drop it in the comments. I mean, if you know, you know. So these problems express themselves differently in men versus women, and sexuality is the sum of many different factors, but neuropathy can be a major predictor of dysfunction. Fact number 2, sexual dysfunction can take many forms, as just mentioned, including decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, and difficulty reaching orgasm. And neuropathy plays into this in several ways. Very simply, the nerves involved in sexual arousal are negatively affected, and the signals responsible for sensation are diminished, leading to pain or discomfort during sexual activity. It can also cause the opposite effect, and instead of decreased ability to feel sensation, it can lead to a heightened sense of burning or tingling, making sex uncomfortable or absolutely unbearable. The severity of dysfunction caused by neuropathy can vary from person to person, of course, and is going to be dependent on the extent of the nerve damage, as well as other factors like age and overall health. It also doesn't matter what type of neuropathy you have or what it's caused by, whether it's small fiber neuropathy, diabetic in origin, due to certain medications you're taking, or as a result of an autoimmune condition. The list can go on, but in a nutshell, and no pun intended, neuropathy is neuropathy. The good news is if you have noticed neuropathy and sexual difficulty as a result of manageable conditions like diabetes, or you've been prescribed a certain medication, then you can discuss changing them proactively or adding a homeopathic remedy like I discussed here, before nerve damage becomes irreversible and possibly maybe regain some function, if not all function. The most important step here is actually having that conversation with your doctor or NP. Fact 3. Neuropathy can also cause changes in the physical structure of the genitalia, making it difficult for people to engage in sexual activity at all. It can also cause decreased production of testosterone, which is a key hormone involved in sexual function in both men and women. And according to Simon Podner and David Bojacek, neuropathy can also cause restless genital syndrome, which is characterized by unwanted or unpleasant genital sensations, restless legs, and/or an overactive bladder. And this is most commonly seen in women, and anyone watching who knows what restless leg syndrome feels like can sympathize with just how devastating this must be. I myself had an issue with restless leg syndrome after the birth of one of my kids, and it was pure hell on earth. I cannot fathom experiencing that down there. No. Anyway, fact number 4. Certain medications used to treat the underlying cause of neuropathy have also been shown to adversely affect sexual response, and those culprits include blood pressure medications, antidepressants, sedatives, antipsychotics, seizure medication, anti-ulcer drugs, chemotherapy, and many recreationals. They contribute to sexual dysfunction by causing decreased libido, again, or sex drive, decreased production of testosterone, or other adverse effects. This actually brings to mind a friend of mine who was prescribed antidepressants, and after being on them for a bit, his depression seemed to improve, but he described his penis as being like a taffy pole. His words, not mine. Anyway, many of the same health problems that cause erectile dysfunction in men, such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol, as well as many medications used to treat these conditions, can cause sexual dysfunction in women as well. Fact number 5. The psychological effects of neuropathy and sexual dysfunction combined can significantly impact a person's quality of life and romantic relationships, causing feelings of shame, frustration, and low self-esteem. That's a given. In an article by the MS Society, they state, and I quote, "Despite the prevalence of sexual dysfunction in persons with MS and neuropathy, 63% of patients report that they have never talked about sexual difficulties with their healthcare provider." Similarly, a different study noted that only 20% of patients recalled being asked about sexual dysfunction during an exam. However, reporting of sexual symptoms significantly increases with direct inquiry, which is just a fancy way of saying, asking about it directly. Are you having sexual difficulties due to this condition? So asking about sexual dysfunction is an important part of the medical exam. You are in a safe space with a medical professional whose main concern is your well-being. So have the conversation. Okay, so now that we have a few facts under our belts, what can we do about it? Treatment for sexual dysfunction caused by neuropathy may involve medications, psychotherapy, lifestyle changes, trying to manage the underlying condition, and ultimately improve the nerve function. And out of the gate, as far as medications go, I'm sure everyone is expecting me to say Viagra or drugs like it, like Cialis or Avanafil, have the top billing to treat sexual issues related to neuropathy, and that would not be incorrect. Most people think of male erections when they think of Viagra, and that came out completely wrong. Anyway, rewind. Most people believe that Viagra is really only going to aid with the male erection, but doesn't impact the sensory issues like the loss of sensation, which then in turn drives arousal and lubrication, etc., etc. Also, does it work for women?
Does not compute.
So here's the deal. Medicinal treatments for women increasingly do include prescriptions for Viagra or sildenafil, though it has not been approved by the FDA yet for women. What has been approved is a daily pill called IVIG, originally developed as an antidepressant for premenopausal women, and Viagra, which is an injectable medication also used to treat hypoactive sexual desire. Honestly, I was actually kind of surprised about this when I was researching the fact that Viagra is still considered off-label for women. I really haven't looked into, I don't work with Viagra a lot, so I wasn't really up on what was going on with it recently, and I really just assumed that it had been approved at some point for women, but nope, it is still considered off-label for them. And similar to its effects for men, Viagra increases blood flow to the vagina, the clitoris, and the labia, causing engorgement of these tissues as well as enhanced sensation, and in turn, this increases vaginal lubrication. In addition, as is the case with men, a woman must have the desire to have sex and be stimulated enough for it to have an effect. So, not a magic bullet per se, but let's put it this way. If there's smoke, it gives you the ability to start the fire. It gets better though. Stick with me here. The most interesting thing I found was a study from 2015, but still, a report by Wang et al. Wang et al. Demonstrated that Viagra had improved neurovascular functions and helps long-term peripheral neuropathy in middle-aged diabetic mice, but promising. So next, we're talking about topical vasodilators, which may improve blood flow. So when diagnosis indicates a problem in the vascular system, particularly arterial insufficiency, externally applied vasodilators like nitroglycerin ointment can be used to dilate arteries and improve blood flow into the penis. Now, nitroglycerin is commonly used in the treatment of high blood pressure, and it's associated with heart disease, but when this is applied to the penis, it increases penile arterial flow and improves erections. And the main side effect here, though, is your partner can also absorb the nitroglycerin through contact and develop a wicked headache. So that's not so sexy. Now, there's also been some evidence about another topically applied vasodilator, which is minoxidil, which is typically used for male pattern baldness, but was also found to have fewer side effects and be more effective than the nitroglycerin cream. Although some cases of erectile dysfunction responded well to this kind of therapy, the effectiveness of topical vasodilator products for this purpose have not yet been determined. So next, we're talking about nerve stimulating devices, aka vibrators and clitoral stimulators. And depending on whether your neuropathy is causing a lack of sensation or a heightened sensation, these may be good tools to add to your arsenal. And there are a wide array of devices to choose from, but the LELO products are voted as some of the best, and they put a lot of research into them. It's not a sponsored video either, just saying. Vibrators are a great way to enhance a woman's sexual experience and also improve pelvic floor muscle function and facilitate treatment of genital pain. But vibrators are not well studied, and given the promising demonstrated benefits, future research efforts should be directed towards investigating their utility, in my opinion. And considering the potential pelvic health benefits of vibrators, wouldn't it be amazing? Wouldn't it be amazing if we actually reached a point where your doctor could prescribe a vibrator? I'd vote for that. Vaginal lubricants are next on this list, and of course, they decrease dryness and make sexual intercourse more comfortable and enjoyable. Now, as far as neuropathy goes, they do make some products that have a warming effect or cooling effect, but I'd be careful because some of the ingredients may cause a further loss of sensation. Next, you'll want to get your testosterone level checked. Women too. Low testosterone equals low desire, low energy, and poor sexual function. Testosterone levels can often be raised with a topical testosterone gel. And women dealing with pain, dryness, loss of desire, or difficulties with orgasm might benefit from estrogen supplements used vaginally. These meds are also available without a prescription. Supplementation can also help with sexual dysfunction due to neuropathy. Among these are acetyl L-carnitine, vitamin D, alpha lipoic acid, B vitamins, and fish oil. Again, check out this video where I go into much greater detail about each of them. And we're not quite through yet. The last one on this list is earth-shattering. You're not going to believe it, probably because it's super simple, but you ready? Take your time with sex. Don't treat it as an afterthought or something you do when you're already tired and stressed from a long day. Make it a priority. Get some rest beforehand, do something romantic together like, I don't know, a warm shower, romantic dinner, dance in your kitchen, watch a sexy movie, kind of set the stage. Sexual arousal doesn't turn on like a light switch. You've got to kind of warm the oven, let the dough rise before you're going to bake some bread. I'll see you in the next video.